I've always considered myself extremely blessed, especially when it's come to the opportunities I've had in my career. I was at Mattel for about 10 years and got to head up the DC Universe Classics line, which gave me the opportunity to make some real dream toys. From Comic Con items to giant gift packs that we sold on MattyCollector.com, the DC Universe Classics line in 6 inch is really kind of a definitive 6-inch line for DC collectors. I mean, in no way am I knocking the new McFarlane stuff or DC Direct things, but those figures tend to be a little bigger, 7 inches. The scale's kind of a little wonky. With DC Universe Classics, because we had one sculpting team working on the entire line, well, sites like Foosh was able to put together this amazing shot of every figure we did because they're all in scale. The last wave I worked on for retail was Wave 19, which was the kind of the Justice Society wave. Shortly after that, I had a redirect from corporate, and I was reassigned to a different project. It's not really one I can talk about, especially because it never actually made it to market, but I spent 2 years working on it, and that happens a lot at big companies. But a new team was brought in to brand manage the DC Universe Classics retail line and to kind of carry the torch for where we had left it off. And we had actually done quite a lot of planning. So things like Wave 20 was a wave that I worked on in the planning stage, but I didn't work on any of the logistics of actually bringing it to market. Basically nothing other than words and images on paper. But we did quite a lot of planning, and I wanted to use this video before we get to the online offerings for Signature Series to kind of cover those lost waves. So while Wave 20 and 21 were produced by the new team, and then they shifted over to kind of an all-Batman theme for a couple waves, which ironically brought the Mattel line full circle since it started off as an all-Batman line. Well, I wanted to have the opportunity to kind of slice in the lost waves, waves 20, 21, and 22 that I did work on that were handed off to the new team. But of course, once you hand things off, well, the new team gets control and they get to do what they want, whether they want to go forward with the plans you give them, leave them, or they want to go off in their own direction based on things that their bosses request, retailers request. There's 100 reasons. So one thing we wanted to do come Wave 20 was find a way to reintroduce kind of the core members of the Justice League, or rather the big guns of DC, because these are always the best sellers. And now that we were so deep into DCU Classics and they'd all been done, finding a way to get them back on shelf was very important, especially to attract new collectors. So taking a page from Mego, the idea was to re-release the main characters but give them swappable heads, so that they could have a regular head and then an alternate, which might be a secret identity, or in the case of Superman, it was going to be the unknown Superman, definitely a Bill Beneke thing, and he was really good at coming up with this stuff. But for the most part, we were looking at doing alternate secret identity heads or different expressions, ways to resell main characters and get them back on shelf to kind of act as beacons to bring in new collectors. A lot of the other figures got eventually released in the Signature collection that were sort of set up to be part of Wave 21 and 22, and it's great that they came out. Other characters, like Dove in Wave 20, was originally going to be a 50-50 split between the male and the female version of Dove, but I think the male one never came out. Other characters in the lineup that we worked on for Wave 20, 21, and 22 included some original characters like Warlord, and again, another Bill Beneke special, the Challengers of the Unknown, which would have come with multiple heads, so you could assemble the entire team, buying the buck and then swapping up heads. And then finally, a modern OMAC, which was on my list for the longest time, because when we did the original OMAC, I actually thought this is the figure we were doing. When we got the Kirby one, I was like, oh, I guess I read that wrong. There was also going to be a refresh of Wonder Woman, which would have correlated with a new Collect and Connect figure, in this case, her villain Egg Fu, which, of course, we were not going to do the old version, we were going to do the modern version, which was, well, not only cooler looking, but didn't have any kind of stereotypes that we wanted to avoid. And man, he would have been amazing. This is just a fan custom I saw online, but I was sad when the new team dropped this one because it would have been so cool. Again, this was such a Bill Beneke thing. He was a big fan of the design and how he could have been done as a toy. Another one of the Collect and Connect figures, I think this one would have been Wave 22, was Shaggy Man, who would have used some existing parts, but again, another larger character that would have helped anchor a line and increase sell-through. The other big thing was we were working with our partners at DC and Warner Brothers, and they were fantastic. And we had finally gotten to the point that we were going to start to be able to look at Vertigo characters, which we'd wanted to do for years. And we kept being told no, it was not possible. But finally, kind of after proving ourselves through 20 waves and essentially making the case that we needed more really great characters to sell now that we were so deep into the line, they were the amazing partners that they could be, and they allowed us to finally look at this as a potential line extension. So characters like Sandman as well as Death were we were going to kind of do one Vertigo figure per wave, I think starting in wave 21, if memory serves. And these would have not only been fan favorites, but would have also really helped bring something fresh and new to the line. I mean, the number of Death figures we could have sold at Hot Topic with maybe like an alternate head or a different paint job would have been exponential, probably one of the best-selling figures we would have ever done. We also had a new fan choice, not this one for this Kid DC line, but we would have done another fan vote for the 6-inch line, and that winner would have joined previous figures like the Question from Wave 11 that won the very first fan vote, which I wasn't shocked about since he was in such high demand because of his appearances on the Justice League Unlimited show. And then the second one, the winner was Raven from the Teen Titans. So we wanted to continue this and do a third fan choice figure, which would have been, I believe, in Wave 22. Again, I don't have everything memorized, but I'll show you an image. So this was Wave 20, 22, and 23. It doesn't show Wave 21. That would have been the alternate head wave that you saw earlier. So that would have filled in the gap there for Wave 21 as a way to refresh the main characters. And that's what the original plan was, is handed over to the new team. And obviously, they had their direction from retail and from management, and they needed to follow that direction. You don't just get to blindly follow what the new team hands over. But the nice thing was, with all of this planning done, we were able to take a lot of this and put it into the Signature Series once we moved the line online as Club Infinite Earths on Matty Collector. And that's what I'm going to start with in the next video as we head over to the online offerings, including the fan choice vote wound up moving over here, and Metron won that slot as the first oversized figure. So we still got to hold on to a lot of these concepts, and a lot of the figures that were planned for these waves did wind up getting released online. And then, of course, our grand finale was Doomsday. And we'll get into all of that as we continue the director's commentary with the next episode, focusing on the online offerings. And now we've filled in the gap from when I left the line until it moved forward. Thanks for watching, and if you like, please do subscribe and give it a like. That tells YouTube to share these with other folks and other people. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next director's commentary.